Patty, what's your first memory or recollection of Cove Spring Church?
Coming up those front steps, we didn't have that at our other church. We had just a few steps, but not anything like these were out here. And but everybody was so friendly, and my aunt and uncle came here to church and with their family, and so it was just like it was a family place to come.
And you were how old?
Probably about 12.
How long have you attended Cove Spring Church now, Patty?
71 years.
What's a favorite memory or highlight from those 71 years here?
Is the sausage supper that the Women's Fellowship had. The ladies felt like they were getting too old to do that. So they asked our class to take it over. And we did. Barbara Fulton and I worked at it together, and I'm sure there were others too, because you just can't do it with that many people. The kind of supper that it was, and things that had to be done and everything, and we had on our farm had the things that we needed to start with. We had hogs that we could take to have butchered, and we were able to do that. We always had help to do it, but it got done. And then we had to, have other people to donate dishes of food to go along with the sausage. And it seemed to be a big thing. And even today, I have had people ask me, why did we quit? And can't we do that again? And I just look at them and shake my head and I say, not today.
And our kitchen was not as big back then for most of the years of the sausage supper as it is now, right?
That's correct. That's very correct. Yeah.
Why do you consider Cove Spring Church your home and have continued to consider Cove Spring Church your home after all these years?
Well, I think basically because it's just a big family. People seem to get along, and they seem to be coming into this church from other churches, so I'm not complaining.
Say a bit. We don't do the sausage supper anymore, or you don't, and you don't share that, but you are still involved with the funeral dinner committee. Say a little bit about that outreach.
Well, if someone loses a family member or something, and they would like to have a meal prepared for their friends and family and things like that after the funeral is over with, and we've been doing that. So,
Patty, any other memories you'd like to share?
Back to the sausage supper, I just thought of something else. I was running a little bit behind to get up here to the church then. Got to the church and Barbara Fulton wasn't here yet. She was the other one on the committee with me. And she came in, I says, where have you been? And she says, well, I came around a curve and I lost a tire. I won't forget that. But everything went well. Nobody got hurt. And somebody helped her get the tire and get it back on. And we got through it okay.
Yeah, I can't imagine what it'd take a lot to derail you two from what you were when you're going about your business.
What's your first memory or recollection of Cove Spring?
Sitting with my granddad, Ang Miller, in the back row of the church, feeding us, what were they called? I looked it up. Pink peppermint candies with my 4 brothers to keep us quiet.
About what year would that have been, you think?
Mid-40s.
Mid-40s?
Yep.
Okay.
I could understand why with the Southerly boys.
Whatever. We did talk a lot.
How long have you attended Cove Springs?
1942.
But your parents were attended that much way, way back, probably.
My grandparents since 1929.
What do you consider a favorite memory or highlight that you've experienced since attending Cove Springs?
One of them I thought of was if somebody had an accident or there was a fire or there was a death and crops needed to be harvested or planted, or everybody in the community, not just Cove Springs people, but everybody in the community came and worked. The women provided the meals. So that's one of my memories, I think, of our church.
How long have you been doing the organ and pianist or anything here at the church?
I started playing the piano when I was in 6th grade. So you figured up,
Several years then, right?
well, how old are you in 6th grade? 11, 10? So early 50s.
So, yeah, 70 years almost. Or roughly 70
Not the
years.
organ, just the piano. I started playing in Sunday school. Who was the pianist? Can't remember. But something happened in the family, and I remember Marjorie called me, and she let me pick the hymns first few times because I was pretty young. I still was taking lessons, but and we sang a lot of the songs over and over again. And then Janet Manning, when I came upstairs, we were in high school, and she was we always had a chorister lead the singing, and we picked the hymns. And like I said, we repeated a lot of them. Like when the rolls called up, and you name them, but anyway, nobody cared.
What do you consider Cove Spring as your church home over all the other options you could have?
Oh. Well, mainly because my grandparents started here in 29, and then my parents, and then my family, immediate family, and now my kids and grandkids. And they still, Adam goes to church out there. I think it's been a very significant part of our lives, the church. Not only the church, the community. The schools, the people, I don't know.
Is there any other memories that of Cove Springs that you would like to share with the congregation?
Okay. I wrote down a couple of things, and I'm not going to talk about them, but I wrote down the sausage supper because everybody in the community, not just Cove Springs members, came in and helped make,
Ponhas?
Ponhas. They
Pudding meat.
pudding. When they made apple butter, like the Grange. Different activities. Everybody in the community joined in and helped. We had quite a few dinners. And different people. If you weren't a member of the church, I can remember Marie Gundolf. She'd make 10 or 12 pies and donate them. And it just didn't have to be a funeral or a wedding. It just was a get-together.
Right.
But in my early years, none of us had television, and this was our center for activity. The ice cream socials. We had a bunch of those. And everybody had their own peach, strawberry, chocolate, vanilla. Everybody had their own. And that was a community thing. And people from Troy would come out because it'd be put in the papers. Softball teams. The red team, the blue team, they had a big following. They were always winning. They always had a good team most of the years.
Do you remember any of the choir directors throughout your years?
I remember Josephine Wallace. She was here a long time. I remember the quartet. The first quartet was Bob Trossel, Omar Watson, one of the Trossel. Well, besides Bob, who sang? Low, but he wasn't in that first one. Anyway,
Bob Hess?
Bob Hess. You're right. And I was so impressed with those men because my granddad came from a family of 13 and there were 11 boys. They sang, Grandpa played the guitar, the harmonica, they all sang, and I sit there with him, and man, his old knee would get to going, and everybody enjoyed all the music. It's always been good music here at Coast Springs. As many good singers out in the audience as there is up on the stage.
Yep. How has the church changed since you started beginning here and now to the present? What are some of the memories that you remember?
The men sitting on the right-hand side of the church and the women sitting on the left-hand side. And sometimes I would sneak away from my parents and go back and sit with my grandfather. And my grandfather would say, Barb, you cannot sit here. And I'd cross my arms and say, well, I'm not leaving. So he would feed me a piece of candy to keep me quiet, and I was allowed to sit.